So it's, I don't know, it's very nostalgic, like playing here with you guys. It's reminding me of like the first time I ever had anything in stores was when I played at Barnes & Noble's over 2 years ago now. It's crazy. But we played this next song that night, and so this next song is called Take Flight.
But anyway, so he's doing an amazing job. Perfection here. We have one last song to play for you today, and then Brooke and I are going to just be shooting the breeze, answering your questions. So put your thinking caps on and think of some questions for us.
Thanks for bringing Brooklyn.
Yes. So everyone give a round of applause
Yeah.
to Brooke. And then for those of you who don't know, my Snapchat has been completely taken over by this little creature. This is my dog. Her name's Luna. Yeah. Anyway, she's the love of my life. But okay, so what we're here really to talk about is not the dog, but Brooke and I have been working on something for the last 3 years, And gosh, it was crazy. 3 years ago, Brooke was about ready to graduate from ASU in creative writing, and I called her up and I had an idea. I said, "Hey Brooke, would you write my book?" And she said yes, which is something you might regret by now. No? Okay. Oh, yeah, you're there. Yeah, a little closer. Don't be afraid. But yeah, it's been an incredible process, and I don't know, do you want to say, wrap it up in a couple words, or should we just let them start firing?
Dive in.
Let's just dive in, okay. We're going to be taking questions, and I think you got to suck up to these guys with the microphones. They're choosing, not me, so bribe them with candy, and I think that works. Okay.
Hi. What got you interested in doing this?
You know, at meet and greets, I get asked a lot of very deep questions sometimes, things that I am completely comfortable in sharing, but oftentimes, you know, the setting of a meet and greet there's not enough time, and also it's not always the most appropriate place to talk about really deep things. And so I was like, well, you know, rather than trying to sum these really important things up into like, you know, minute-long conversations, I felt like I had a story to share. And also Brooke, we'll talk more about this later, but there were so many people that inspired me in my life and that helped me through some of these harder times in my life and the good times. And so I wanted to share my story as well. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I can't choose.
Way back here.
Okay.
I just want to let you know that one of my favorite covers of yours would be either it's a tie actually between Zelda and Star Wars.
Awesome.
And, I was just wondering, what was your favorite cover to work on?
Favorite cover to work on? Star Wars one was a lot of fun because it was with Peter Hollins, and he and I just have a blast whenever we work together. So that might have been one of my favorite covers. Aha.
Well, you're here in the middle. Yeah, Peter's great. He's awesome too.
I wanted to know what was your favorite album out of all of them, and your favorite song and why?
Favorite album? Well, I've only got two. I can't pick a favorite of my babies, you know? It's like picking a favorite child. But one of my favorite songs, Shatter Me, is a very special song to me, and
Yes.
Probably because it was written about something very specific from my life. And you know, it's one thing to write about something musically, but it was really interesting to then take it, you know, some of these things that all my albums are written from stories from my life and my songs, but to write about them in a book was like a completely different experience. So.
I'm not good at using microphones, but
Great.
hi Lindsay, I'm Kaylee. I am very excited to be here across the room from you instead of hundreds of miles away from you. So we came from New Hampshire.
Oh, nice.
So I'm sure I can think of a bunch of other questions, but right now my brain is dead, and I'm wondering what's the story behind naming your dog Luna?
Oh, well, I'm a Harry Potter nerd. No, her name's actually, her full name is Luna Latte Stirling. And so Luna because I'm a Harry Potter nerd, and Latte because she looks, well, actually it was in honor of Gavi because Gavi's favorite drink was a vanilla latte. And so she kind of looks like a little vanilla latte. But does anyone have any questions about the book?
Look.
These are all great questions, mind you.
They need a microphone.
We'll take one right over here.
Hi.
Hey.
I just wanted to ask you and Brooke a question about the book, 3.5 years. I'm not sure if that's a long time to write a book. It seems like it to me. Could you just go over the process and how it took so long? And
Brooke, you take this one.
Yeah. Well, we weren't writing it in the same place, and she's been touring and traveling, and we crossed paths several times in that 3 years, but we had to work on it through Skype and phone calls, and I think it took a little bit of time because it was me helping her write her story, and I'm not her, so we wanted to make sure that we got everything correctly. And it also took us a while to get through the process too, because you have to, approach agents and publishers and get through all those hoops as well. So, as we were going up that hill, we just kept writing and working on it and just making it as good as it could be.
And I think also the story kept unfolding as we were writing, so it's like, oh, we should kind of talk about that too. And so Brooke's like, okay, more, yeah, it kept evolving. And I'm not sure, this is both of our first book too, so I don't know, Brooke, you know more about, is it a normal process to take 3 years to write a book?
I don't know, I didn't really time it off of anything other than how long it took me. But we also had a deadline eventually, and so that kind of wrapped it up. But I probably could have kept working on it forever if they hadn't told me to stop. So.
Right in the middle here.
Hi, so what was your favorite part of the book to write? Because I've read almost all of it by now, actually. And you got to scan bookies at home, really. So what is your, for both of you, which part was probably your favorite to write? And if you don't really have a favorite, because I'm pretty sure your whole life is amazing, which part was the most fun to brainstorm?
That's a good question. That's a one we've never been asked. I think one of my favorite chapters to work on was actually the childhood chapters. They were so we both experienced a very colorful, vibrant childhood, and with a lot of characters. And I would laugh out loud the way Brooke would write it. She's so good at giving a voice to she captured my voice so well, and giving a voice to all these different characters that come out in and out of the book. And so the childhood chapters are very fun-loving and just quirky and cute.
Yeah, I have to agree. The childhood was fun because I got to kind of go into the mind of a child again, which is always, there's so many endless possibilities there. So that was really, really entertaining for me because I had a lot of freedom to kind of just be totally quirky and fun and bring out little Lindsey, and she was a weirdo when she was little. So
Elaborate on that.
It's funny, until we started writing the book and I got to actually read these stories, I was like, I didn't realize what a strange child I really was. I don't know. There's a lot of stories that didn't make the book too. And I was like,
We'll take one over here.
Hello, Lindsey Stirling. First of all, I must say, you're not a strange person, you're a very beautiful being.
oh, thank you.
And secondly, I had to ask a question about the book. I had to ask, was it really tough for you to actually start writing the book when you asked your sister to write it for you? Mary, also, the title of the cover, The Only Pirate at the Party, was it tough for you to even start?
I think starting was really hard because, how do you wrap your life? This book does have a really nice flow to it, the way that Brooke put it together. It's slightly chronological, but Brooke did more of the arrange. I gave her tons of content and stories and ideas, but you did more of the arranging of it, so.
Yeah, starting was the hardest part because it's such a daunting, big, trying to wrap up this human into, that many pages. It's kind of difficult. So we didn't write the first chapter until last. I just didn't know how to begin the story.
And what was the first thing we started with?
The first thing we started with was actually the eating disorder chapters, because I knew those were going to be the hardest to write. And so we started those first, and we actually kind of whittled away at that almost the entire time. So it was one of the first that we started and one of the last that wrapped up. But the first section, the introduction, was actually written last.
Hi. So the question that I had was already asked by the gentleman. I have another question for you. When is the movie The Only Pirate at the Party coming out?
That's a great question. After Lindsey takes some acting lessons, massive acting lessons.
What inspired the title of the book?
Good story.
Yeah, there's actually several reasons. I decided to use a pirate theme kind of as the book title. I love pirates, and the theme is kind of woven throughout the book, but there's one story in particular that we tell when I first moved to LA. And I was, just excited to be there, and I got invited to a party, and I was like, oh my gosh, yay! And it was a Peter Pan themed birthday party. And to my knowledge, everything pointed at the fact that it was a costume party. So I had just filmed Master of Tides, so this is like recent, you know. And so I had this full-on awesome pirate outfit. I was like, I'm going as Captain Hook. And I show up and I was the only person dressed up at the entire party. Not only the only pirate, but the only person dressed up. There was a Tinkerbell cake. Other than that, it was a party. And so I remember walking in and just being like, oh, you've got to be kidding. Dang it. Like, I'm the only pirate at this party. And I felt almost at that moment, it was like, this is such a metaphor for my life. You know, I haven't walked through life trying to stand out, but a lot of times I'll get somewhere super excited about what I'm doing and who I am, and you're like, oh gosh, I'm really different. And so then we call it, I think you wrapped up, you say it the best. Brooke wrote an amazing intro that wrapped up all my mumbling and jumbling into a really well-said statement.
Well, we just want to point out that, you know, you don't always try to be different sometimes, but sometimes, you know, everyone has something that makes us unique, and, you know, sometimes we do just end up being just different, and that's okay sometimes. So she was the only part of the party, and sometimes that's okay.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm going to own this. And I ended up making quite a few friends. I stuck out, for sure. But I also liked in the first chapter, I think you said being different sometimes feels a lot like being alone. And I think obviously you guys can relate to that. And like in the end, it's not always easy, but in the end, we'll always be the happiest if we're our authentic selves. And so that's kind of one of the takeaways we want to talk about.
Always have a title until they ask for one. They're like, what's the title? Once we had a publisher, and we're like, I don't know what you call it. So we brainstormed really late at night and came up with a couple. That was one. The Last Narwhal was one.
Save the Whales was one.
Save the Whale.
I don't know.
And there was a lot of really bad ones.
And our editor was like, that one's funny. And we're like, really? Okay, we'll go with that one.
Okay.
Take one here in the back. Hi, Lindsay and Brooke.